You are Locked On Marlins Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, Fish fans? We are celebrating tonight in the 305. How about that game, right? The Marlins in the win column. Somehow, some way, in extra innings, they walk it off and end what has been a horrible month on an extremely positive note heading into May. And who cares if it might be too late? Everybody's celebrating tonight. The Marlins really needed a finish like the one I'm about to describe to you in a minute if you didn't see it. Welcome to your Locked On Marlins postcast right here on your Locked On Sports Miami and wherever you listen to your podcast, which could be Spotify, could be Apple Music, could be iTunes, could be anywhere for that matter. You're listening to your podcast these days. We will be here after every Marlins game all summer long, and hopefully a lot more of them are like this one. First of all, I want to thank you, before we do anything else, I want to thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen every day, your Locked On Marlins postcast as well. Myself and Peter bringing you the ins and outs, the ups and downs every single day with your Miami Marlins. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Just kind of said that. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, or every day, however you want to say it. Up to you. I ain't here to judge, but I will say this. The Miami Marlins really needed that win tonight, and they did a great job in getting it. And I'm going to run through it right now for you. It's exciting, right? I mean, the Marlins had a tough April. It was just miserable. I mean, first of all, they started the season 0-9, right? They're on a 7-game losing streak coming into today. They got swept in 4 games by the Nationals. They got beat up by the Braves after splitting with the Cubs. And yeah, it's just been a tough go for the Miami Marlins, and we are about to let you know how they broke that string today and wrap things up in the bottom of the 10th inning. They scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game, 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th to win it, so 7 runs in the final 2 innings tonight to grab the victory, and what a victory it was. Your Locked On Marlins postcast is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Just had to say it twice. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I love the game, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends, join me, download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. And that's a fun game, by the way. You can get still do all the conventional, like the boardwalk and all that, but you can do the Vegas Strip, you can do Camelot. You can really do a lot of extra things in Monopoly Go, digital version on the app. It's dope AF. You know what I'm saying? Kids say these days. It's lit. It slays, whatever you want to say, right? Well, that's what the Marlins did today. Dane Myers, great Dane. You saw it. The Marlins walk it off in 10, and it was a great night, great finish to this contest in the MIA. Dane Myers, with a walk-off RBI single off Jalen Beeks. He scored Bryan De La Cruz, who had just doubled off the wall, just missed a walk-off homer in the 10th. A thrilling comeback win at Lone Depot Park. Ryan McMahon had doubled in Sean Bouchard in the top of the 10th to give the Rockies the lead after the Marlins stranded runners on second and third. They had them second and third with 1 away in the bottom of the 9th and couldn't drive the winning run in after scoring 5 times in that frame. And you're thinking, sure, they can't buy a win, right? You know, they're down 5-0. The Rockies scored all 5 runs in their first inning. Couldn't add any insurance all night long. And I mean, Ryan Feltner looked like a beast tonight. Ryan Feltner looked like Sandy Koufax out there. You know what I'm saying? And he was dealing like Al Leiter used to for the Marlins. And you think about what Feltner was doing tonight. He's a guy with an ERA over 5. He'd been terrible all year long. And, of course, he comes in and he had thrown like 80 pitches into the 9th inning. And Ryan McMahon killed the Marlins today offensively for the Rockies, and go figure, he's the one who doubles in that run. So the Marlins leave second and third, bottom of the 9th. Then the Rockies score 1 in the 10th, and you're like, man, what does this team have to do? But then they get the 2 in the bottom of the 10th. And what does this do? I can tell you it does amazing things for the Miami Marlins, all right? I've been around the game a long time, and I can tell you momentum is only as good as the next day's pitcher, in baseball is a load of crap. Momentum is much more than the next day's pitcher in the game of baseball, especially when you've been losing like this team has. To get a win like this, to be down 5, to come back and tie it in the bottom of the 9th, to lose that lead and go down 1, not the lead, to go down 1 in the top of the 10th and then come back in the bottom of the 10th, score 2 to win the game. That's a shot in the arm on steroids, baby. That is, and I probably shouldn't say that with Major League. It's been enough time, right? Enough time's gone by. Anyway, I digress. Shot in the arm. right, for the Marlins, because it's been a terrible month. You fall behind like that, you're down 5-0. It'd be easy to just kind of mail it in and say, you know what, the hell with it, look listless, and hey, it doesn't really matter. We're just terrible today. Anyway, there's no quit in this team. There's literally none in this team. I love the way Skip Schumacher has set the culture in this clubhouse. I love the way these guys pick each other up. I love the never say die attitude. Look, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and paint the whole world with rose-colored glasses. They're 7-24. But what I will do is tell you that this win tonight, ending a miserable April, heading into May, gives them a huge boost and a lot of momentum. The Rockies stink, and they were looking like they're going to pick up a win. And this is a big 3-game series for these two teams because one of them needs to get off the schneid, and we wanted, obviously, to be the Marlins. Thank God for the White Sox. If not for them, and the Astros are terrible too. How great is it that those lying, cheating, rotten, the Houston Astros getting that medicine finally? How long was it going to take before the Houston Astros got their medicine? And they are getting it now. But I digress. But I like to digress when I do things like that. What an inning, though, that was. Dane Myers crushed it the opposite way. Bryan De La Cruz takes out the catcher, man. That was awesome. Elias Diaz at the dish. Bryan De La Cruz was dead. They sent him. One hop throw, perfect. He was out by 2 steps. He trucked the catcher. Diaz was still down on the ground after the game. Look, that's part of the game, man. You block the dish, you get run over. You block the dish, you get knocked down. You block the dish, see Pete Rose and Ray Fosse. You block the dish, you get what you got coming, and that's baseball. All right, so thank God they didn't do anything to take away that part of the game, because they've taken away so much of it, and they've taken away everything from football to the point where they might as well be wearing flags at this point. How do you think Tom Brady played to 45? No one could touch him for the last 15 years of his career. Tell that to Steve Young, Troy Aikman, Joe Montana, see what they say. Or Dan Marino, for that matter, every year with those knee injuries. So the Rockies are 7-22 now. They came in, thought they were going to get that win. The Marlins, 7-24, tied with the Rockies in the win column, still a game down in the loss column. But how about those Marlins scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning? It was 5-0. Vidal Brujan had 2 hits and a run scored. He leads off the inning, singles, 4th hit of the night for Miami. Luis Arraez adds an RBI single. He's been hitting good lately in that leadoff spot. Bryan De La Cruz draws a walk. Josh Bell singles. Jesus Sanchez gets hit by a pitch to get him within 1, driving with the run. Emmanuel Rivera sacrifice fly ties it at 5, but Christian Bethancourt flies out to the wall with the bases loaded to end the inning and send the game into extras. And that was when McMahon doubled in Bouchard to make it 6-5. Then Myers drives in Bryan De La Cruz, and De La Cruz had just driven in a run himself. He had just scored Tim Anderson with the double off the wall. So, I mean, it's tough luck for Ryan Feltner too, right? 3 hits through 8 innings. He had only thrown 80 pitches, having a terrible year, finally getting, things going. And this is just devastating. I told you yesterday, pitchers are crazy. They're creatures of habit, right? Well, pitchers are nuts. We know this, but anyone, human being wise, would be decimated after this one. It's going to be a little harder for him to pick himself up, I would think, after this loss. And, you got the 2 teams set to finish off this 3-game series, or they play game 2 of the series tomorrow in Miami. The 3-game set ends on Thursday, but it's an early day game. But I really am excited to see what the Marlins do with this momentum. And you talk about a team with 4 starters out who accounted for 47% of their innings last year. You're talking about a team who's got Jake Berger, their first baseman. I believe he's our third baseman. He still leads the team in RBIs. Still. And he's been out, 10 days? So, and it's 15. They don't have anybody on their team who had 20 home runs last year. They don't have anybody on their team who's a big stud in the middle of the lineup. They don't have anybody on their team like that. And this is something that you don't always need in Major League Baseball, especially if you get the pitching and you do things right on the bases. That means a lot, playing solid D. But this team is built pretty well. It's not a bad team. There's a lot of talent on this club. There's a great culture and a never say die attitude. I'm not saying they're going to come all the way back and make the playoffs this year. I am saying, though, they're going to turn things around and have a respectable summer and build more for the future. I think that's what you're looking for right now. If you're a fan of the Miami Marlins, you're looking for everyday players. You're looking for kids who are going to become studs. You're looking for pitchers who are going to get it done. Not only the inning eaters who are going to help the bullpen, you're looking at pitchers who are going to give you quality starts, and maybe, just maybe, you find a stud or 2 in there, right? You find a guy who can be a workhorse, who can be a top of the rotation for you, and your bullpen starts to settle and take shape as your lineup grows together. And I think there's so much to be said for that, especially the low payroll teams like the Marlins. And we'll see where they go from here. But a great win for Miami to finish what's been a terrible month of April. The whole entire month has been April Fools for the Miami Marlins. You're watching the Locked On Marlins postcast. My name's Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. Right here on YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami, along with Locked On Marlins with our guy Peter. And I'll tell you this. We're here after every game. He's here every day. We're going to collab and give you guys the best Marlins coverage that you're going to get anywhere. And it's right here on Locked On, your team every day. There's no doubt about that. But when we come back, we already told you about the extra innings win. They get off the schneid. They snap the 7-game skid. Great Dane Myers with the big hit to drive in Bryan De La Cruz to win the game, walking it off. Great Dane. I have a funny Great Dane story I can tell you on the other side. You're watching the Locked On Marlins postcast with me, Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. And we are going to step aside. Well, not really step aside, but we're going to pay a couple of bills and we'll get rolling again in just a second. Oh, baby. Let me tell you something right now. I am pumped. There it is right there. It took a second for it to get up there, but I'm so pumped. Why? It's playoff time. I just watched the Knicks and the Sixers beat the crap out of each other out of the corner of my eye here for a while. And, you know, you got the Suns already eliminated. You got the Lakers already eliminated. The Heat are on the brink. By the way, tomorrow night, shameless plug, shameful maybe. Heat playing in Boston against the Celtics in Game 5, staring down the barrel of elimination. We'll have the Locked On Heat postcast tomorrow night right here as well, Locked On Sports Miami and wherever you listen to your podcast. But I'm so excited because it is playoff time in the NBA. It is playoff time in the NHL. Major League Baseball is in full swing. April's in the books already, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. That's right. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose with FanDuel. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. So yeah, I can use it. I'm pretty good online though. But I want to ask you one question right now. Are you ready? This is could be $1 billion question if you get hot. Who knows, right? What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on. FanDuel.com/locked-on and make your first bet an automatic win at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. I love FanDuel. What a great place that is. And really excited to tell you about FanDuel. And next up, there it is right there. Where is it? Come on, baby. There we go. All right. It took a while for that to pop up. We're batting 1,000 today on the technical side, just when I think I got it figured out, but we are all right. I'll tell you what, Milwaukee, Monopoly Go, and I've talked to you about Monopoly Go every day. It's a lot of fun. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go, the Vegas Strip, Camelot, you know what I'm saying? And those are the boards that you play on virtually. You can pick your board, different buildings, the greatest landmarks in the world. You can buy them, you can hoard them, you can keep them from your friends, you can bankrupt all your friends. It feels new and exciting every day, Monopoly Go. Constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games within the game, like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine, for crying out loud. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. So get off the bench and discover something fun with Monopoly Go. Go download it now free on Google Play or the App Store. Download Monopoly Go free on Google Play or the App Store. Monopoly Go. Game on. All right. I always love that Matthew McConaughey. All right. Moving on with your Locked On Marlins podcast. I'm Jim Grease, postcast. Jim Grease. Haber, call me Grease, and I am pumped, man, because I love good baseball. I love the fundamentals. I love the execution. I love when things go the right way and the way that they should be. And I'm really pumped to say, when I watch this team, there's something about them. Yeah, their record's terrible. They found new ways to lose games. Their bats have been anemic, right? anemic, bloodless. Well, that's not really what that means, but you know what I'm saying. It has been a tough year for Miami at the dish, to say the least, and the pitching hasn't been great. You've had so many injuries, especially on the pitching staff. And I'm going to tell you my Great Dane story that I promised you, but I'm also going to let you know right now that there's a little something about these guys. I mentioned again, the clubhouse culture with Skip. Love it. Love it. And it used to be so poisonous with Jeffrey Loria as the owner. And it used to be so poisonous, even before that, when they'd have their binges and their purges. And it's not been easy to be a Marlins fan. You've had world champions that were decimated right in front of your very eyes. 1998 was the worst year of people's lives as baseball fans with what the Marlins did with that 97 team after they won. Same with the 03 team on a lesser scale. But how many times do you have to watch Josh Beckett pitching in the World Series for the Red Sox, or Gary Sheffield, playing for the Yankees, and all those great players who were on that Florida Marlins, the 97 team and of course the 03 team. I mean, you look at what Craig Counsell did and Renteria with the hit, and just watching those guys all move on and go play other places was painful. Al Leiter goes to the Mets. Kevin Brown's gone. I mean, you think about all those guys, and then the 03 team was pretty much the same. And they were a lot of fun, both those teams. But this team has a spark to it. This team has a culture. This team has an attitude. They're never going to say die. You're going to have a lot of fun watching them. They're going to get shut out a bunch of times. You're going to wonder why they can't score more runs. But you're going to have a fun time watching them. You're going to have a great time watching this team. And I'm really excited to see how they build and how they grow, what they find for the future from here. I mean, that's pretty simple, right? But I want to tell you my Great Dane story. And it has nothing to do with Dane Myers, but just thinking of a Great Dane, right? I'm living in Connecticut back in the day, and I'm younger. And my ex-wife, who's my girlfriend at the time, we have a house together. And her dad's dog was a German short hair pointer. If you can picture a German short hair pointer, they kind of look like a lab. It was a chocolate colored German short hair pointer. Kind of looks like a lab, right? Brown lab. Innocent dog, cool little dog. Not a little dog, decent sized dog, but just didn't want to hurt its own shadow, scared of its own shadow, didn't want to hurt anyone. And so one day we were dog sitting this dog, right? And the dog goes out in the yard, and it would stay right in the yard and run around. All of a sudden we look out and we see a huge Great Dane coming down the street with its owner. Huge, enormous Great Dane. And the dog is just chilling. Our dog's chilling in the yard, or her dad's dog. And all of a sudden, the lady who had the Great Dane walked up to our dog and let the two dogs say hello. So our dog, her dad's dog, is sitting there barking like, ah. And then all of a sudden, the Great Dane walks right up to it, and the dog looks up and sees how huge it is. And all of a sudden, our dog just goes and just poops everything out of its body right there. So the Great Dane literally scared the you-know-what out of him. And that's what Dane Myers did to the Rockies today. And that's what Bryan De La Cruz did, coming barreling home to the dish and taking out Elias Diaz with the winning run in the game. I mean, it was a play at the plate. He was dead to rights. He was gone by 2 steps. De La Cruz goes strong safety mode. Lewis Oliver would have been proud of that. Dang. Boom. And just crushes him, knocked him on the ground. Good clean play, good hard play. Something missing in baseball, I think, that you don't see as much as you used to. The good hard takeout slide. You're going to block the bag, man. You got what's coming. And I had guys I grew up playing against who would just dare you to come take them out. I had catchers that would dare. They'd stand. I mean, there's catchers in Major League Baseball. Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. Some of the tougher catchers in the game. Jason Varitek comes to mind. And, there's so many of them that, oh, man, it's crazy. But this really was a great win for the Marlins. A lot of fight in these fish. You see it up there on the screen. And there's a lot to be said for that. Professional sports is a tricky landscape. We get so caught up in wins and losses, right? As we probably should. We get so caught up in championships. Win or go home. Winning in misery, says Pat Riley. And, we get so caught up. If your team doesn't win everything, the season's a failure. If your team doesn't make the playoffs, the season's a failure. What about nice runs during the season? What about playing entertaining baseball throughout the season? What about filling up that building and giving the fans a show night in and night out, whether you win the division, go to the playoffs or not? There's a lot to be said for the entertainment value night in and night out. I've had plenty of teams that I've watched throughout my life as a sports fan that didn't win a lot, but they were still a lot of fun to watch. And I think this Marlins team is going to be one of them before the end of this year. Mark my words, they're going to make some noise. They're not going to get close to first place. They're going to win a bunch of games. They're going to have some win streaks that look like these losing streaks. It all evens out over the course of the summer. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast right here on your Locked On Sports Miami channel on YouTube. I'm Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. You can also hear me, see us on YouTube, hear me on wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, everywhere, Stitcher, Podbean, you name it. We will be there with your Locked On Marlins postcast for every game. And then tomorrow night on all those platforms, and probably more because they've been putting me on Locked On NBA and Locked On Sports Today with these shows, it'll be Locked On Heat postcast, Game 5 in Beantown, Heat, Celtics, Miami staring down the barrel, looking at elimination. The question is, will the Celtics soil themselves again as they like to do, as they did in Game 2, as Tatum and Brown did in Game 4, but Derek White carried them, even with Porzingis hurt. How will Porzingis' leg be? Will Miami muster anything besides that 53.5% shooting from the three-point line to win Game 2? We shall see tomorrow night, but we'll be live after that one with the postcast right here, or right here, wherever you are. We will be. We'll tell you that right now. When we come back, we'll wrap it up on your Locked On Marlins postcast. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. But before we do, we got some more time to tell you about these Miami Marlins and what they have coming up, what you might expect to see moving on after this game with the momentum going into the month of May. We'll do that on the other side on your Locked On Marlins postcast. Oh, baby. Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. It's almost Mother's Day. May starts tomorrow. It's April 30th right here. April showers bring what? May flowers. Well, what's in May? Mother's Day. And what better gift to give than flowers to your mom? And I'll tell you this, man, you make her smile no matter what you do. She loves you. She gave birth to you. She carried you in her body. She's mommed you from the time you were born, feeding you, washing you, bathing you, changing diapers, all kinds of things, dealing with your conferences, your report cards, the times you got in trouble, all the stupid things you did as a kid. Yeah, that's what, you know what I'm getting at here, right? Well, mom deserves a lot on Mother's Day. So start Mother's Day with flowers or surprise her with gifts from DoorDash, from the brand she loves, delivered the very same day with DoorDash. Double D, baby, all the way. Moms are a gift. We know this, right? Mine's here right now. You got to give her the best this Mother's Day. Get gifts as thoughtful as she is. With DoorDash, you can select from hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets to the best of tech to self-care essentials and more, delivered right to her door. And you got the candy too. You got all sorts of things for you to do. You can shop with savings that would make her proud as well. With a Dash Pass membership, you'll save with a $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders from DoorPass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including service fee, apply. Terms apply. So what are you waiting for right now? Get all your Mother's Day gifts. Get a Mother's Day gift as unique as she is with DoorDash, all right? Use code LOCKEDONMLB. Get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Terms always apply. Terms apply to everything, don't they? Terms apply. That's just a life warning. Locked On, your team every single day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, your Locked On Marlins postcast. Remind you that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. What am I talking about? Locked On Sports Today. That's what. It's here, and it's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. And man, Locked On Sports Today is just phenomenal, man. And I've been on there a couple of times with a Locked On Heat postcast that you'll see tomorrow night after the Heat go to Boston for Game 5. They're already in Boston, but they'll play Game 5 tomorrow night, staring down the barrel of elimination. No Jimmy Butler, long off season waiting, and we will see what happens moving forward from there. But the Marlins, they did the job tonight. They fell behind 5-0 in the first. They scored 5 runs to tie it In the bottom of the ninth, they left runners on second and third with one away with a chance to win it. Of course, the Rockies come out, take the lead 6-5 in the top of the 10th. What happens next? The Marlins score 2. In the bottom of the 10th, Dane Myers knocks in Bryan De La Cruz, who had doubled to score Tim Anderson, back-to-back doubles to win the game, and both of them were crushed off the wall. Unbelievable, man. A great, great finish. The Marlins battled. They fought. They scratched. They clawed. They fouled a lot of balls off in that ninth inning rally. Sanchez, after being benched last night on an 0-2 count, gets hit by a pitch and finds his way on base somehow, and that one brought them to within one. What a night it is for the Marlins. They'll take it any way they can get it right now, and they need it bad. They need it really badly right now. So the Marlins, with that win, I told you that they move up to 7-24 on the season. De La Cruz was 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs scored today. Dane Myers, 2 for 2, 3 ribbies and a run. How about that? He's hitting .429 now on the season. He went in for Chisholm, who was 0 for 3. And Bell was 2 for 4 in this game. 2 for 3 for Brujan, who had a run scored, including the first run in that ninth inning. And, the bullpen, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. They did a really good job for the Marlins tonight. The pitchers for the Marlins, after Sixto Sanchez got blasted for 5 earned runs and 7 hits, including a home run, and that was in 4 innings after that rough first inning. So good job by him after the first to settle down. But Smith, Cronin, Bender, Ramirez, and Scott, they did a good job, man. Even though Scott, he gets the win, allowed the run, the unearned run in the top of the 10th. But the bullpen did a great job for the Marlins today, shutting them down. The offense picked it up when they had to, twice, bottom of 9, bottom of 10, and they pick up the win. And if you're wondering, I mean, look, it's definitely, you're still 14 games back of Washington, who just swept you, by the way, and you could have gotten a lot closer to them, obviously, in that series, and they're tied with the Mets at 14-14. Phillies and Braves, 19 wins each. The Braves a game and a half up in the loss column, 19-8. Phillies 19-11. Those are the standings in the National League East. Not that the Marlins are going to be making a move anytime soon, but you want to know what's going on out there and teams you want to root against and so forth. But when you get a win like this, I think it really boosts your morale. I think you get in that clubhouse. These guys, a lot of them are young kids. They need that boost. They need that extra adrenaline. Might give them a little extra spring in their step when they hit the ballpark tomorrow, and maybe it helps them play better. And I'm a big believer in that stuff. Your psyche, your mindset going into a game, any game. And I believe, they say momentum's only as good as the next day's pitcher, and the Marlins have not determined their next day's pitcher yet. As a matter of fact, who's pitching for Colorado tomorrow? They just played Washington. It is Dakota Hudson going to start for the Rockies. And for the Marlins, again, they have yet to decide. And let's see if that changed while we've been on the air here. Nope, still undecided. And Dakota Hudson is 0-4 with a 6.57 in 24 2/3 innings. Has allowed 29 hits and 3 home runs. But this dude has been getting ripped all year long, and he's walked 15 while striking out 16. So odds are pretty good for the Marlins lineup tomorrow. Look at the over on the run production if you do those sorts of things. FanDuel. So, you know what I'm saying? It just is phenomenal. And I love that we're supported by FanDuel. What a great, great sports book that is. Pumped to be working with them, DoorDash, Monopoly Go, and all these other terrific sponsors that we have here. Locked On Sports Miami and wherever you listen to your podcast. What else do we want to tell you before we get on out of here? After the Rockies, you got 2 more games against them. Now, you win these 2 games, right? You keep that momentum going. And then, actually, you have 3 more games against them. It's a 4-game series that ends on Thursday, and that game's at 9 in the morning. So wait a second. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the season against the Rockies. Never mind. I thought I was looking at the Marlins schedule. I'm like, wait, why do they play the Rockies 64 times in a row? And it was just their season series with the Rockies, who, of course, they play a lot of times. And the Rockies are out here in Florida once a year. Let's see right here. The Braves in first place. Wow, the Rockies became the first team to trail in opening 29 games, which is interesting. The 29 games that they've played, they've trailed in every single game. What a miserable year for them in Colorado. And again, they had Adam Feltner dealing tonight, and it just was not to be for the Rockies. Big win for the Marlins. We have a little bit of update on Jake Berger. He's got the left intercostal muscle strain, I think intercostal, and Braxton Garrett with the left shoulder impingement will play with AAA Jacksonville on rehab assignments Wednesday. So Berger coming back in the middle of that lineup is a big bat. Braxton Garrett, you want to get him back as soon as possible too. And we shall see how that goes. But that's Wednesday for Berger and Braxton Garrett. Some reinforcements coming back in for the Marlins here soon. And I, for one, am very happy about that because this is something that they just need to get this thing going, right? They need to get it going, and that's about it. That's all I want to say about that. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. You're Locked On Marlins postcast on your Tuesday. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. And I'll tell you what, big win for the Marlins tonight. 7-6 over the Rockies in 10 innings. A big hit for Dane Myers to drive in Bryan De La Cruz with the winning run. They scored 5 times in the bottom of the ninth after holding the Rockies scoreless for the final 8 innings, which was huge in this game. They score 5 times in the bottom of the ninth. The Rockies go ahead in the top of the 10th, 6-5. The Marlins walk it off with 2 in the bottom of the 10th. And again, it was Dane Myers scoring Bryan De La Cruz. Dakota Hudson for the Rockies, we don't know for the Marlins tomorrow, but what we do know is that we will be here right after the game with your Locked On Marlins postcast. And actually, tomorrow night we have the Miami Heat. So we'll be here with the Marlins the next night. Miami Heat tomorrow night against the Celtics in Boston. We'll be doing your Heat postcast, the playoff series continuing, staring down the barrel of elimination. At times we'll be able to do both, but when they're both at the same time, we'll do the Heat playoff game. Thank you so much for being here for your Locked On Marlins postcast. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Marlins fans. We'll talk to you tomorrow.